As the scene opens, Santa Claus is sitting in a big chair in front of the fireplace. He is wearing his traditional costume, but he has his shoes and socks off. His feet are stuck into a basin of hot water. He is huddled down in a big red blanket, which has been thrown around his shoulders. At the side of his chair is a table with several bottles of medicine with large, plainly marked labels: cough medicine, sneeze medicine, and pills for chills. Santa looks very miserable and begins to sneeze. Mrs. Santa rushes in carrying a big white blanket.
Santa, there you go sneezing again. You ought to be in bed.
Bed? How can you talk about bed when it's Christmas Eve? I have to be getting ready for my trip.
Here, put this blanket around you.
Mrs. Claus, I will not be coddled in this fashion. I'm going to get up out of this chair.
Santa starts to get up out of the chair, but Mrs. Claus stops him.
You certainly are not. In your condition, you need all the rest you can get.
Now listen here, Mrs. Claus. Who's the boss around here? Who wears the trousers in this household?
Oh dear, you certainly are funny when you're cross, but I don't mind. You're usually such a merry old soul. Now please, sit still.
Mrs. Claus, I will not be...
Santa starts sneezing again.
There, you see what happens when you get excited? You better have some more of your sneeze medicine.
Mrs. Claus gives Santa some medicine, and he makes an awful face.
Awful stuff. After this, I'm not going to consider the children to be bad if they don't like to take medicine. I don't blame them.
Feeling Santa's hand, Mrs. Claus says,
And your hands are like ice. You better have some chill pills, too.
She gives him a big dose, and he sneezes again.
Achoo! You see, all this medicine, it's making me worse. How much longer have I got to sit here dangling my feet in this hot water? I have to be down in the workshop. The elves are good workers, but without me to direct them, they're apt to get into mischief. Why don't they come up here and report?
He turns his head and shouts for his elves.
Jingle, jingle, winky, winky.
Stop shouting, my dear.
Santa ignores Mrs. Claus, lifts one foot out of the pen as if to get up, and yells again.
Holly, jolly, mistletoe.
Stop it. You'll lose your voice. And don't take your feet out of that hot water.
It isn't hot anymore. It's getting cold.
Well, the elves are bringing more.
What's that? Just as I thought. When they ought to be down in the workshop, getting things ready, packing the sleigh.
Well, all the marks of Jingle and Dingle, but I don't see much sense in it. If you can't go on your trip.
Can't go? Woman, what are you talking about? Don't you realize it's Christmas Eve? What would Christmas be without Santa Claus? I've got millions and millions of presents to deliver.
Nonsense. You can't go climbing down chimneys tonight. Not in your condition. Think of the ashes and the soot. You'd be sneezing all the dust up your nose.
Santa sneezes again.
And besides, you wake up all the children with your sneezing.
Well, so what? Maybe some of the boys and girls would like to see Santa Claus for a change.
They'd never recognize you. Where are your twinkling eyes and dimples they always talk about? You're in an awful humor. And besides, your nose is red.
My nose is always red. It's supposed to be.
But a cheerful red, not a fiery red. Here, you better blow it.
Oh, very well.
And don't look like such a martyr. I'm only trying to make you better.
Two elves, Jingle and Dingle, enter carrying a tea kettle of hot water and a big can labeled mustard. They look at Santa and shake their heads.
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, Santa has the sniffles, and it's very sad to see. If Santa has the sniffles, what Christmas will there be? Jingle, Dingle, stop that nonsense. Now quick, the hot water, the mustard.
The elves run to Santa. Jingle pours some hot water in the pan, and Dingle sprinkles some mustard into it from a box. Santa starts to pull his feet from the pan, and then jerks them out quickly as the elves pour in the hot water.
Ouch, ouch, it's hot. Get out of here, both of you.
But Mr. Santa, only trying to make you well.
You ought to be in the workshop, both of you. Packing dolls, packing drums, packing candy.
Yes, sir, we'll go at once, sir.
And send Winky and Blinky up here. I want to report on how things are going. It's getting late. I'll have to start soon.
Yes, sir.
Jingle and Dingle run out to fetch Winky and Blinky.
You'll not stir an inch of this house until you're bed. It's snowing harder and it's colder than ever. I stuck my head out the door once and got icicles in my hair.
What's new about that? It's always cold at the North Pole.
But it's worse tonight.
All the more reason to let me go. I could soon be in a way warmer climate.
Yes, and catch double pneumonia. Sudden changes like that are bad for people with the sniffles.
Oh, stop fussing. Why did I have to catch this cold anyway?
It's your own fault. I told you not to go out last night in the sleigh.
But I had to exercise the reindeer. Dancer and Prancer are getting fat, and Comet and Cupid and the rest of them are getting lazy. They had to be in trim for tonight.
I couldn't exercise the reindeer.
You! This is Santa Claus? A woman?
Women are doing lots of things these days, all sorts of jobs. It beats me. You go into the world over here and still I know more about what's going on out there than you do.
That's because you're always listening to the radio.
Yes, I think I'll turn it on now, Santa. I'll take your mind off things.
Mrs. Claus switches on the radio. Immediately, you hear the screams of jingle bells.
Take my mind off.
Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
What did I tell you? All the children are expecting me. They're waiting now. They're waiting for Christmas to begin. Turn that thing off. It makes me nervous.
I'll switch it to another station.
She does, and another voice comes on.
Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. To exist as certainly as love, generosity, and devotion exist. And you know that they abound and give true life its highest beauty and joy. That's what the New York Sun wrote that little girl so long ago. Alas, how dreary would the world be if there were no Santa Claus?
Oh, certainly it would be dreary. Of course it would be dreary.
Oh dear, don't turn it off.
Mrs. Claus switches off the radio.
I'd like to have listened. It's so beautiful, but it's making you nervous.
Naturally, at a time like this, don't you see, if I don't get started on my trip soon, people won't believe in me anymore. They'll think there isn't any Santa Claus.
Oh, perhaps if you didn't go this year, they'd appreciate you more than ever. After all, you've never missed a Christmas before.
And I'm not going to miss this one. Where are those elves? I thought I told them.
Just then, Blinky and Blinky run in, interrupting Santa.
Here we are, Santa. I'm Winky. I'm Blinky.
Never mind. What difference does it make if I can't tell you apart? How are things in the workshop? All finished. What about dolls, drums, candy canes, sleds, Nintendo games?
There are millions of sleds and millions of drums. And millions of dolls and sugar plums.
Have you got some red-headed dolls?
Oh, yes, Santa Claus.
Some of the little girls like red-headed dolls.
And Holly and Joy have given all the dolls parties this year. Then if the little girls take them out in the rain, the dolls won't lose their curly hair.
Fine. What about ponies?
The ponies have already been sent on ahead. They're waiting in the neighbors' barns all over the country.
Well, I'll need some long ribbon. Yards and yards.
What for?
Well, you can't put a live pony on a Christmas tree, so I'll loop a ribbon around its neck and then run it through a window and tie it to the tree with a knot.
Wonderful. Great idea. Excuse me, but it's very foolish to make all those plans, Santa Claus. But you know as well as I do.
Suddenly, two other owls, Holly and Jolly, dash in.
I'm Holly,
I'm Jolly.
and we have come to say
That we finished packing all the toys.
you can soon be on your way.
Santa, I tell you, there's no use.
Another interruption as Jingle and Dingle run out from outside with snowflakes all over them.
I'm Jingle. I'm Dingle. We're hitching up the reindeer, Dasher and Dancer, and Comet and Cupid and Prancer, and also Donner and Blitzen.
Just then, the seventh elf, Mistletoe, enters also covered with snow.
I'm Mistletoe. I've been putting on the sleigh bells. Did you hear them ring? Oh, the sound makes me so happy I could barely sing.
All the elves began dancing around the room.
I'm Jingle. I'm Dingle. I'm Holly. I'm Jolly. I'm Winky. I'm Dinky. And I'm Mistletoe. Oh, we've made the toys the whole year through for every girl and boy. And now it's time for Christmas, for happiness and joy.
Santa, catching their excitement, tries to get up from the chair.
Yes, of course it is. It's time for me to be off. It's getting late.
Now, Santa, you just stay right there in your chair. You know as well as I do you can't go anywhere tonight. It's impossible.
Nonsense. I've got to go.
Come on. Come on. Santa, dear, over all the world you'll fly. We'll help you get onto the sleigh. You'll be off in a wink of an eye.
Yes. No, I don't know. I feel dizzy. My head's stuffed up and my nose. Choo.
There, you see? You're sneezing again. You just stay right there in your chair. But Mrs. Santa Claus, what about Christmas? It's time for Santa Claus to go. It's no use. He can't go. He knows as well as I do. Here, let me tuck your blanket around you, Santa. You mean there won't be any Christmas? there'll be a Christmas, but he won't have a part in it. Now, Santa, don't you try to get up out of your chair yet.
Mrs. Claus tucks Santa in his chair one last time and heads out of the room.
Mrs. Claus, just where do you think you're going?
Never you mind, Santa.
Oh dear, no Christmas, Jolly?
I can't believe it, Holly. Oh, Winky, I'm going to cry. I know, Blinky, so am I. Oh, Jingle, what can we do? Jingle, I wish I knew. I just feel so blue.
Santa begins to sneeze again and the elves run to him.
Santa, can we help?
No, I just feel miserable. Utterly miserable. No Christmas. Imagine it. No Christmas this year.
No Christmas. No Christmas at all?
No Christmas anywhere.
No Christmas for the children.
No trimmed trees?
No felt socks. No Santa Claus? But there must be some way. What can we do, Mr. Santa? We ought to be able to figure something out.
I'm sorry. There just doesn't seem to be any hope.
But Mr. Claus said there'd be a Christmas, didn't she?
But how can there be a Christmas without Santa Claus?
But what did she mean then?
Maybe she's going to send all the presents to the children.
Why, yes, through the mail. Special delivery.
No, that wouldn't do at all. The children get presents through the mail from their aunts and cousins and grandfathers. They're used to that kind of present. It wouldn't mean a thing to them.
Suddenly, Mrs. Claus enters the room wearing a long white bushy beard just like Santa's, and dressed in one of his red suits, a cap, and carrying a big pack over her shoulder.
Why, it's Mrs. Santa Claus. And she's wearing trousers. Certainly, I'm going to deliver the presents.
But Mrs. Claus, I won't have it. You've got on my other suit.
Certainly I have. As Dingle said, I'm wearing trousers.
Well, I simply won't have it. I won't have it. I tell you.
To wear these things if they call them slacks. I'm going to do your job tonight.
But it's unheard of.
And while I'm gone, you and the elves can get Christmas ready here the way I usually do. Here's a list.
Mrs. Claus hands Santa a long list of things to do.
But...
Now, no buts. Roast the turkey, fill the stockings, mashed potatoes, don't bring gravy. Well, it's all there. Just follow directions. I know it's more work than you usually do, but at least you'll be here in the warm. I'll be back in time for Christmas dinner.
I won't allow it. I won't allow you to go.
Would you rather there not be any Christmas and have all the children disappointed?
She pauses, waiting for an answer, and hearing none says,
I thought not.
But...
Now, don't argue. Lots of women take away their men's jobs when they have to, and I ought to be on my way.
But have you got the addresses? Will you know?
Of course I'll know. Just stop at every house.
But certain things go certain places.
I won't mix them up, and even if I did, somebody might like a surprise. Yes, a surprise.
Mrs. Claus starts for the door, but turns once more for a last word.
Well, I'm off, and if any child peeks, there'll be no harm done. I guess I could pass for Santa Claus. Merry Christmas!
The elves all run to the window and relay information to Santa Claus, who is leaning forward anxiously in his chair.
She's climbing into the sleigh. All the reindeers are pawing and prancing now. She's getting all wrapped in the big blanket. She looks merry as can be.
Her eyes are twinkling.
And her nose is getting red from the cold. She's off. There they go. Listen.
In the distance, you can hear Mrs. Claus's voice calling to the reindeer.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. Yes, there's going to be a Christmas after all.
Yes, but dear me, I don't know what to think. Of course I'm glad the children are going to have Christmas, but to have Mrs. Santa Claus take my place?
It's all right. Just this one. Just for this year.
Santa thinks this over very carefully.
You never can tell with women. Now she may want to do it every year. You'd be surprised. She's getting more and more publicity all the time. Last year, several store windows featured Mrs. Santa Claus.
Oh, but you too, I'll bet, Mr. Santa. Of course.
There'll always be a Santa Claus.
And there'll always be a Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry